When I was a little boy, I idolized my father. But as a teenager, I grew resentful of his old-fashioned, bare-bones approach to life. Scorching summers and oppressive humidity were no match for my father's frugality. We sweltered without air conditioning and squinted at our black and white TV, while everybody else I knew enjoyed modern comforts. In almost every area of our lives, he refused to buy anything new when the old was still marginally usable. As a teenager, I was always self-conscious when new friends came to our house. We weren't the Clampetts, but I knew we were uncomfortably different and lived far behind the times. At school, I'd hear my classmates' tales of swimming in the crystal-clear waters of Hawaii and snow skiing in Colorado over the Christmas break. These stories filled me with both envy and confusion. Many days walking around the school in my faded hand-me-down coat, I wondered, why were we stuck at home with only a small black and white window on the world, while so many others lived lives I could only dream of? Years passed and life moved forward. In time, I married and started my own family, but that did nothing to close the chasm between my father and me. His well-intentioned inquiries about my life felt increasingly intrusive, a constant reminder of my perceived inadequacy. Every fall, as the first chills settled in the air, I braced myself for the inevitable call. "Have you checked the antifreeze in your car, son?" His voice would echo through the receiver. Irritation flared within me with each of these calls. Did he truly believe I wasn't responsible enough to handle something so simple and yet so significant? I wanted to shout into the phone, "I'm not a teenager anymore." But I bit back the words, opting for a curt, "Yes, Dad, I've got it covered." As 1993 began, despite the responsibility of a wife, 3 kids, and a monthly mortgage payment, I committed to getting a full-time college education. Without a degree, I could only see a lifetime of financial struggles ahead. But achieving my goal of a college degree would mean that my family would live in virtual poverty over the next few years. Despite that hardship, I was determined to never ask my father for help, even though we were almost always behind on our mortgage payments and our grocery budget was meager. Though I never said a word about our financial difficulties to my parents, my dad started showing up at the house and bringing us bags of groceries, filled with everything from meat and eggs to breakfast cereal, coffee, milk, and a lot of canned goods. But then, just 18 months later, my father received a devastating diagnosis of terminal cancer. It was around this time, while studying the Great Depression in one of my classes, that I finally began to grasp the profound impact those times had on shaping his life and choices. I spent as much time as I could with my father in his final months, frequently holding his hand and talking about his life, savoring the moments I knew would soon be gone forever. I graduated from the University of Houston the year after my father died. One day, as I was about to start my first year of teaching, I found a can of spinach that had been pushed into the back of the pantry. Seeing something unusual on the label, I pulled the can out into the light, and what I saw stopped me cold. On the label, my father had penciled in the word "new." To me, it was a clear sign that my father, more than 50 years after the Great Depression, still felt the need to stockpile food, just in case. Looking back, I realized my father was like a burn victim, bearing invisible scars that manifested in his cautious, frugal lifestyle. He saved relentlessly, denying himself far more than he ever denied us. He worked through illness and injury, always putting his family first. Born in 1918, just days after the end of the First World War, my father was a man of a different time, shaped by his experiences during the Great Depression. He may not have always expressed his love in words like fathers on TV shows, but his actions spoke volumes. As the parents of grown children, my wife and I know how impossible it is to turn off being mom and dad just because your kids are adults. Today, I smile at the memory of his antifreeze calls, wishing I could tell him, "I get it now, Dad. I get it." Through the lens of time, I now understand the choices my father made when I was growing up, and a rusted and worn spinach can endures as a cherished symbol of my father's life, love, and dedication to his family.